The divisional round of the playoffs for the 2025 NFL season has 4 great games, and we have you covered with what you need to know going into the weekend. Tomorrow will feature quarterback Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills heading to Denver to face the Broncos, and the night finishes off with an NFC West showdown between the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. On Sunday, the Houston Texans hope to win the franchise's first divisional round game when they play the New England Patriots, while quarterback Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams visit quarterback Caleb Williams in Chicago. Everything you want to know is right here in one spot to help you get ready for a loaded weekend of NFL playoff football. Let's get into the full divisional slate. For this is the divisional playoffs edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. Hey there, welcome everybody to the divisional playoff edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. Hello friends, I am your host Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher and Michael Bullock. Big show here tonight. We are going to set the table for the divisional playoffs this weekend. And on top of that, we are also going to preview the college football playoff national championship game. The number 10 seed Miami Hurricanes versus the number 1 seed Indiana Hoosiers on Monday night. But before we get into the national championship, let's talk about the divisional playoffs. And let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right on in. It starts tomorrow at 4:30 on CBS. And when it comes to the divisional round, this is the big one right here. This is our game right here. The number 6 seed, the Buffalo Bills, squaring off against the number 1 seed, the Denver Broncos, in Power Field, Mile High, in Denver. Hello, friends. Jim Nance, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson, they will have it. Denver opening up as a 1-point favorite. Postseason history favors the Buffalo Bills. 2-0. They've met twice in the postseason. Buffalo won both meetings. The first was in the 1991 AFC Championship game. It was played in January of 92 in Buffalo. Buffalo winning the game 10-7. And most recently, just one short year ago, just a year ago, in the wild card round, the Buffalo Bills defeating the Denver Broncos 31-7. So with that, let's dive on in. Buffalo is trying to make it to a second straight AFC Championship game and the third of quarterback Josh Allen's career. But that will be a tough task for a Bills offense dealing with a plethora of wide receiver injuries. Tyrell Shavers, Gabe Davis, Joshua Palmer, all out. Josh Allen is also banged up, with his right foot, left knee, and right finger injuries. But Josh Allen was a full participant in practice on Wednesday and yesterday. Protecting Allen will be a top priority, especially against the Bronco defense that had 68 sacks in the regular season, tied for 5th most since 1963 when sacks were first tracked. There's a double dip of postseason drama for Denver. For some fans, Josh Allen will always be the one that got away because the Broncos and then general manager John Elway did not draft him with the number 5 draft pick in 2018. They selected Bradley Chubb with that pick. Add that to the Bills defeating the Broncos in the playoffs a year ago in a 31-7 win in the wildcard round. The Bills bring the league's number 1 rushing attack, 159.6 yards a game, and the NFL's leading rusher in James Cook, 1,621 yards. 2 of the 3 teams that beat the Broncos this season, the Indianapolis Colts and the Los Angeles Chargers, both rushed for more than 100 yards. Now, it's no secret that run defense is the Bills' weakness. They rank 31st in EPA allowed per design run. Can the Broncos capitalize? Denver is recording just minus 0.04 EPA per design run. which is well below its 0.12 EPA per dropback, and the Broncos lean pass heavy. Denver has the 5th highest pass rate over expected per NFL Next Gen stats. The X factor is Bills wide receiver Brandon Cooks. He has 7 catches for 159 yards in his last 2 games. Cooks is a vertical stretch target for Josh Allen and will have opportunities to win downfield versus the Broncos' man-heavy defense. The Bills will need to create explosive plays to pull off this upset. Out of the 4 FPIs, this one is the closest. They give it to Denver, but it's only 51%. That's it. Just 51% favoring Denver. And I can certainly understand why. But as we know, Denver will not, I believe Denver will not have J.K. Dobbins, their leading rusher. Buffalo got some huge news today. Their game wrecker is back. Ed Oliver, activated off of IR. And also, to help with the receiving core, Curtis Samuel has also been elevated off the IR. That definitely makes me feel, that makes me very happy, and it definitely makes me feel better about this game just a little bit. And of course, we can't forget about the Jim Nantz factor. We can't forget about that. We know how much of a good luck charm Jim Nantz is. So with all of that, and especially with the return of the game wrecker, Ed Oliver, I am going to go. I believe. And after they made believers, I know they made believers out of a lot of people a week ago when they went into Jacksonville and upset the Jacksonville Jaguars a week ago. They did it once. I believe they can do it again. I am going to go with the Buffalo Bills to win this game. My final score, 26-21, Buffalo goes into Denver and pulls another road upset. Nothing more to say. Goodle MF, Michael Fletcher, come on in. The Phil Simms to my Jim Nantz. This is our game. Buffalo, the 6th seed. Denver, the 1 seed. Ed Oliver, off of IR. The game wrecker is back for Buffalo. Buffalo and Denver. Who's going to go? Who's going to punch the first ticket? The conference championship weekend. Do that thing I like, my friend. Hello, friends.
The way I see this game, it goes like this. The biggest problem I have with Denver is, can they get an offensive explosion? Because we know Buffalo can get there. They're going to be able to manipulate the offense. They're going to be able to manipulate the game plan. The running attack is going to be good and everything else. Can Josh Allen just stay out of getting hurt? Because that's the one thing that, he got dinged up against Jacksonville pretty badly. With the hand hitting the helmet. Then when he scored the touchdown, you saw him grasping at the knee. So you know that Allen is definitely hurt. And I hate to say it, Anthony, but if Allen goes down at any point in the game, bye-bye goes Buffalo. Because that guy is, without a doubt, the heart and soul of the team. If you lose him, you're gone. There's no way you're recovering. But with the defense getting better and with the additions of, with all the guys that are getting back, yes, there is a major situation. You don't know what you're going to get here. So it kind of feels like it's a dangerous situation. It's a dangerous game to play, but I'm feeling confident enough that I actually am going with Anthony here, and I do believe Buffalo will pull the upset. There's something about Denver. I don't know why, but during this entire season, if you can definitely rely on Denver's D, and Denver's defense is going to give Buffalo fits, a lot of problems on Saturday. I get it, but offensively, Buffalo's got the advantage. Offensively, They got so many advantages. Better run attack, better receivers, better tight ends, better quarterback. And I'm sorry, I don't see anything. If you're Denver, there's nothing here that scares me about the Denver Broncos offense. They don't. Defensively is where, okay, maybe Denver is a little better than Buffalo. But overall, I'm going with the team that knows how to handle the situation. They've been here before. And I hate to say this, but the last few years, really, Buffalo kind of struggles around this part. Now, they're on the road. So this is an advantage for them because they're not playing at Highmark. Because if we all remember, the last time they divisional playoff in Highmark, they went home. So Buffalo's going to win. They go to the AFC Championship game. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth with this guy throughout the week. I mean, I'm going to be quite honest with you guys. This is the toughest one for me to call. I mean, there's so many factors that that could really affect the outcome of this game. Number one, obviously Denver coming off of the bye week as the number 1 seed, and Buffalo was on a short week and they're a little dinged up. I mean, with losing Gabe Davis, and yes, you're getting Curtis Samuel and Ed Oliver back, but the thing is, they're getting thrown right into the fire right away with the playoffs, the divisional round. The question is there going to be any rust out of them? Because I think you told me earlier, Florio, I think Curtis Samuel, the last time he played was a couple of months ago, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It was back on November the 16th in their win against Tampa Bay.
And what about Ed Oliver?
I got to look into that one.
Yeah, so all those things, I mean, and I worry about Josh Allen because, I mean, yeah, he is a little dinged up because of the way with the hand and the knee and all that. I mean, he's tough as nails, but I worry about that Denver defense because all it takes is one big hit. And if Josh Allen's out of the game, your team is screwed, Florio. And nobody wants to see this team back in the AFC Championship game again. No more than you. And maybe to finally get to that next level, which is the Super Bowl. And like you also said, Fletch, the biggest question for Denver, I mean, it's not the defense, it's the offense. I mean, when are they going to step it up? When is Nick's going to step it up and lead this offense? Somebody on that offense is going to have to step up. But here's the thing. I think if it's a low-scoring game, I think the edge goes to Denver because they have the better defense. So this is the tough call for me, but I'm sorry to do this, but for the first time in these, well, I don't know if it's the first time in these playoffs, but I'm actually lone wolfing it. I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos to beat the Buffalo Bills, but it's going to be a close one. So for the first time tonight, I don't know if this is going to be the only time, but I'm actually going to do it. Ow! So Denver wins in a close one, but Florio, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, as I hand it off to you, I am not 100% confident with this.
Of course, especially with a 51% FPI. So
it's almost like it's a pick'em.
It pretty much is. It pretty much is.
So right now, I'm going with them, but again, I'm not at all confident with this because Buffalo they have a way of proving people wrong. I mean, just like they did last week.
Mm-hmm.
Can they do it 2 weeks in a row, especially on the road? We'll see what happens. But for now, reluctantly, I'm going with Denver. But again, not too confident with it.
Completely understand. All right. The other half of the Saturday doubleheader tomorrow, 8 p.m. over on Fox. It's another 6 versus 1 matchup. The number 6 seed in the NFC, the San Francisco 49ers, squaring off against the number 1 seed in the NFC, the Seattle Seahawks. Lumen Field in Seattle. Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, Tom Rinaldi. They will have it. Seattle opening up as a 7-point favorite. Third postseason meeting for these two, and it's tied 1-1. Each team has won a playoff game against the other. The first one, we'll never forget it. One of the greatest NFC championship games of all time. 2013, played January of 2014. Seattle defeating San Francisco 23-17. And we all remember that was the infamous Richard Sherman, Aaron Andrews moment. We all remember that. And the other, the 2022 wild card game, January of 2023 in San Francisco. San Francisco won that game by a score of 41-23. So a proverbial rubber match here. So not much more. MF, San Francisco, we talked about our game of the week. This is the other game of the week, the other side of it. San Francisco, Seattle, NFC West, bitter rivals. We know the playoff history. They write another chapter tomorrow. Who's going to the NFC Championship game?
Now, going into this, initially, I was going to say Seattle, and it wasn't going to even be close. George Kittle got hurt. He tore his Achilles. He's out. That means Christian McCaffrey is going to have to lean in, and the receiving core is going to have to lean in, and they're going to need some help from the tight end, the backup tight ends, and they're going to have to figure it out. And going in, and Brock Purdy was going to have to do a masterful job. Except now, Sam Darnold is on the injury report, and he's questionable to play. That may change my pick in the overall standing. Even though you can go after Kenneth Walker III, you can go after Charbonnet and have them try to do a 1-2 punch and run the football and not rely on and try not to rely on the passing game and just try to run it on the 49ers. I don't think that's going to work, though. So in that situation, that's a cause for pause. And that made a red alert on my mind. And so much so that, like I said, I am very tempted to go with the San Francisco 49ers to pull the upset and knock out Seattle. However, it all hinges on the health of Sam Darnold. If Sam does play, then I'm going Seattle, and I'm saying they're going to win it, they'll move on, and the status quo. But if he doesn't go, if he's a no-go, then I'm going with San Francisco. I'm calling for the upset. And if that's a lone wolf on my end, well, then you know what's about to happen in a little bit. But I'm going Seattle for now. But again, I do leave the door open for a 49er win here. But Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, with San Fran, I mean, they overcome so much, especially with all the injuries they had just to get to where they are right now, especially upsetting the defending Super Bowl champs. But George Kittle suffering that torn Achilles, I think, is the real thing that really is going to suffer for because. I mean, yes, you got Brock Purdy. You got Juwan Jennings. You got Christian McCaffrey. Somebody else on the offense is going to have to step up if they're going to pull off this upset. But like you said, we got to keep an eye on the Sam Darnold situation. So, but you know what? Either way, I'm going to go with Seattle to win because I think at some point the injury bug's going to come back to bite San Fran. So I'm going with Seattle as well. So no matter what, so it's yours, Florio.
And just to let you guys know, if Sam Darnold does not go, it's on Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe is the backup. So something to think about, guys. All right. There was a 17-week gap between their first two matchups, but there's little to no buffer this time around. The Niners played one game since they last saw the Seahawks, and Seattle is playing consecutive games against San Francisco. 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan cautioned this week against paralysis by analysis, wanting to ensure his team doesn't overthink what went wrong in that Week 18 loss. Wide receiver Kendrick Bourne sees the short turnaround as an advantage. He said it's almost better to play a team closer to each other because you're more familiar, more aware of what they're going to do. Seattle delivered a defensive masterpiece in Week 18, holding San Francisco to 173 total yards and a field goal. If the Seahawks want to come anywhere close to replicating that, they will have to tackle like they did 2 weeks ago. Seahawks coach Mike McDonald considers San Francisco to be the NFL's best offense when it comes to yards after the catch. But his defense held the 49ers to 2.7 yards after the catch in their last meeting. McDonald said there's some plays where guys were in tough spots, but guys were playing with great effort. And when you do that, you can take some of those more aggressive angles to eliminate some of that space. And the guys did a great job of that. 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey has recorded an NFL worst minus 180 rush yards over expected this season, per NFL Next Gen stats. And the Seahawks are the best run defense in the league by EPA per play and opponent success rate. So the ground game does not look like a viable option for the 49ers. They'll have better luck getting the ball to McCaffrey through the air. The X factor is Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker III. In Week 18, he had 4 carries of 10 or more yards, finishing with 97 rushing yards. In Clint Kubiak's zone run scheme, Walker can get to the edges or press the ball through creases of daylight, which creates offensive tempo for Seattle. The FPI favors the Seattle Seahawks here. 59% going with Seattle. I'm going with Seattle as well. I think it's going to be another Shakespearean drama game between these two. So I'm going with Seattle to win this one. I'm going to go 23-20. Seattle defeats San Francisco and moves on to the NFC Championship. And now we move on to the Sunday portion of Divisional Playoff Weekend, starting Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and simulcasting on ABC. It will be the number 5 seed in the AFC, the Houston Texans, squaring off against the number 2 seed, Michael Bullock's New England Patriots. Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Lisa Salters, and Laura Rutledge. New England opening up as a 3-point favorite. Third postseason meeting between these two. The previous two, both in the divisional round, both at Gillette Stadium, both in favor of the New England Patriots. 2012 played in January of 2013. New England defeated Houston 41-28. And then 2016 played in January of 2017. New England again defeats Houston 34-16. So there's not much more to say on this. So Michael Bullock, it's only fitting you started off. I mean, it was fitting that I started it off with my team. It's only fitting we started off with your team. Patriots, no trouble with the Chargers last week in the wild card round. Houston flexing their muscle, smashing Pittsburgh. And here we are, another divisional round. The third time you guys are meeting in the divisional round. You're 2-0 against them already. Can New England make it 3-0 and go back to the AFC Championship game, I believe, for the first time since their last Super Bowl year?
Yeah, this is I mean, like you said, this is exciting. I mean, for all of Patriot Nation. I mean, in the divisional round and having a chance to go to the AFC Championship for the first time since their last Super Bowl appearance in 2018. I mean, yes, we're familiar with the Texans, of course, like you said, meeting with them twice in the divisional round at Gillette, and we beat them both times. And it's all about how are the Patriots going to handle this Texans defense that's been really good, especially with Danielle Hunter and Anderson. But here's the thing: when it comes to Houston, offensively, we already know Nico Collins is out. He has a concussion. I mean, I'm sure you guys saw it. I mean, it looked pretty bad. And to the
Yeah,
point
he
that,
landed face first. Yeah.
yeah, to the point that they had to bring the card out and wheel him out. So, yeah, they already announced he is out. So, CJ Stroud's going to be is not going to have one of his offensive weapons. And the good news for the Patriots, Christian Gonzalez, of course, he was in concussion protocol, but as of today, he's out of it and looks like he's going to be ready to go. So that's going to be a big help defensively. So, and here's the other concern when it comes to the Texans offensively. What happened with C.J. Stroud on that Monday? He fumbled the ball 5 times. He fumbled the ball 5 times and lost it twice. Now, if this defense could get to C.J. Stroud, it could make it a very tough night for the Texans offensively. So, and Drake May, I mean, he had an okay game, but he even with his own admission, I got to be better. And I get a feeling he'll bounce back, and Will Campbell, I think, will have a better game on the offensive line side. So, again, I think this is going to be a close one, but they're at home at Gillette Stadium. I'm going to go with the New England Patriots to win this one and advance to the AFC Championship for the first time since 2018. And the thing is, if Buffalo wins, Florio, like you and Fletch say, guess where the AFC Championship game is going to be?
Gillette.
Yep. But if Denver wins, then they got to go on the road to Denver. I mean, like I said, I want Denver to win, but if Buffalo pulls it off and New England wins, I'll be very happy with the game being at Gillette. So I'm going with New England to win. I think it's going to be a close one. But again, and here's the other thing they continue to hear the thing, Florio, that, oh, it was easy against the Chargers because they were dealing with injuries. Well, and also today on NFL Live, everybody picked the Texans to win it. I mean, I think Florio, that's going to be motivation for this team. Like, wait a minute, nobody's giving us a chance. So we'll see what happens. But I got New England winning, so it's yours, Florio.
Houston is in the divisional round for the 3rd straight season. But the franchise is 0-6 all time in these matchups. Quarterback C.J. Stroud views this divisional game as an exciting chance to prove something. He said, I think it's a great opportunity for us to go out there in our next game and put our best foot ahead of us and try to get a W in a harsh environment against a really good football team. So it's just something on our mind that we need to get done. That's all our focus is right now. Patriots coach Mike Vrabel called the Texans the best defense his team has faced to date. Among the key areas for New England is the left side of the offensive line with rookies Will Campbell and Jared Wilson. Campbell, when he was at LSU, recalled facing Texans defensive end Will Anderson Jr. when Anderson was at Alabama as a freshman in college, and now they meet again in a pivotal matchup. The Patriots average 8.6 air yards per attempt, third highest mark in the NFL. But the Texans' defense allows only 4.8 air yards per attempt, the league's lowest. Will quarterback Drake May have enough time, and will his receivers get open enough for him to throw downfield? The X factor is Texan safety Kalen Bullock. He can limit the Patriots' vertical passing game using his range to track the ball from the post or the deep half. And Bullock brings a playmaking element to the field with 4 interceptions this season, plus a pick 6 off the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers in their wildcard win in Pittsburgh last Monday night. Slight FPI in favor of the New England Patriots, but it's only 52%. They're pretty much in the same boat as Denver. But at the end of the day, I do believe that the New England Patriots will find a way to pull this one out. I'm going with New England to win. My final, it's not going to be easy, but I believe the final score, I'm going to go 24-17. I got New England holding off Houston. The defense will give Drake May fits, absolutely. But I do believe the New England Patriots will somehow find a way and pull this one out, especially with it being at Gillette. The momentum's on their side anyway. They're 2-0 against Houston in this round. Both games at Gillette. I don't see why not I don't see how they cannot pull it out again. So give me New England 24-17. Not much more to say. MF, are we going to make it unanimous?
Yes, this is a unanimous. I'm going with the New England Patriots as well. Obviously, defensively, yes, this is going to be a big test for New England, but I do believe New England should be able to maneuver around. They can establish a run attack. That's something that I don't know if they're going to be able, if Houston will be able to stop. However, Houston's defense, then that front four is going to harass Drake May. Drake has not faced a defense like this all season long. And this may be, I hate to say this, Michael Bullitt, statistically, this may be his worst game coming up on Sunday. I feel like Drake May is going to make some mistakes in this game. I do believe a fumble and an INT is very possible. And not only that, but the element may come into play. We're talking about a possible snow that could happen on Sunday in Gillette. So that also may be a factor where they might have to utilize the run attack for New England's sake. As far as Houston goes, defensively, I think they're going to be fine. Offensively, they're a liability. And that's where I think New England is going to be able to win the game because of their defense. They're not as great as Houston's is, but they're just as good, just as formidable, and just as strong. So I think defensively, it's going to be a little bit of a wash. But offensively, definitely the Patriots have the advantage. And that's why I think New England's going to win this game. Anthony, it's yours.
And the final game of divisional playoff weekend, Sunday evening at 6:30 on NBC. And it will be just like with the AFC game. It'll be 5 versus 2. It'll be the number 5 seed, the Los Angeles Rams, squaring off against the number 2 seed, the Chicago Bears, Soldier Field in Chicago. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark, and Kaylee Hartung will be working this game. Los Angeles opening up as a 4-point favorite in this one. And we know what the theme of this night has been. Just like with the other three games there, this will also be a third playoff meeting. And it's also postseason series tied 1-1 between the Bears and the Rams. The first meeting was in 1950 in a conference playoff. It was a conference playoff in 1950 in Los Angeles, and the Rams won that game 24-14. The other meeting, the 1985 NFC Championship game, January of 86, and the Chicago Bears You remember the 85 Bears. We all know how damn good they were. They absolutely smashed the Los Angeles Rams in that championship game, 24-0. And then we know what happened after that. Before I get into the full-on preview here, MF and talked about a possible snow game in Foxborough for that Texans Patriots game. Well, I'm about to drop some weather knowledge on you guys here. Los Angeles and Chicago, they're going to be playing at 6:30 on Sunday evening. And according to my latest weather figures here, oh boy. Wait until you hear this, guys. Wait until you hear this. I think, all right, yeah, okay, this is Sunday. Oh, here we go. We're looking at temperatures 18 degrees, and there may be some snow in that game as well. We could be looking at a snow game and temperatures in the teens. I even heard single digits. Feels like temperatures of single digits. So it's going to be bone-chilling cold in Chicago on Sunday night, or Sunday evening, rather. So now let's get into the schematics here. I mean, the full-on preview now. The temperature in Chicago is forecast to be in the single digits at kickoff with a wind chill below 0. It was in the 80s in Los Angeles this week as the Rams were preparing for this game. According to ESPN research, Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford has never played in a game where the temperature was below 20 degrees at kickoff. But Stafford said the cold weather will be an issue for both teams, and you just go out there and execute the best you can. It feels like it's dipped a little bit, Bears coach Ben Johnson said about their running game. Not something that we certainly want. Certainly late in the season, we wanted that to pick up. Playoffs, weather games like this, you certainly want to be able to lean on your run game. Chicago ran for a season-low 65 yards in Week 18 and 93 in the wild card round, which was the fourth lowest. Igniting the run game could spark a faster start on offense. It's both efficient runs to stay on track and ahead of the chains and also explosive runs as well, Johnson said. Where can we find a few of those? We're going to have to be on our A game to be able to run it on this crew. The Rams ranked 10th in EPA allowed per dropback, but they dropped to 29th in that same metric when facing play action. And it's not just a big play or two, as success rate tells a similar story. That's a problem against the Bears. Chicago runs play action on 31% of its dropbacks, third highest rate. The X factor is Rams edge rusher Jared Verse. LA must keep Caleb Williams in the pocket and limit his ability to create outside of structure. Verse, who had 7.5 sacks and 49 pressures this season, will be tasked with containing Caleb Williams, and he gets a positive matchup opposite Bears left tackle Theo Benedette. Highest FPI of the week goes to the Los Angeles Rams. 62% going with the Los Angeles Rams to win this game. I'm going to admit something. Bullock, you know this. We had a chat about this earlier in the week. And if you're hearing this for the first time, Bullock said that the Buffalo and Denver game was the game that he was having the toughest time calling. For me, this was the game I was having the hardest time calling. My gut tells me to go with Los Angeles, but my heart tells me to go with Chicago, mainly because of the cold weather. But on paper, I believe I believe the Rams have the better talent, especially on the offensive side. And I gotta give a slight edge to the Los Angeles Rams here. So I'm gonna go with the Los Angeles Rams to win this one. I'm gonna go 30-24. Los Angeles defeats Chicago and moves on to the NFC Championship game for the first time since their Super Bowl run of 4 years ago. So I'm going with LA. Wouldn't be surprised if Chicago does win this game, though. Very tough to call, but I got to give a slight edge to the Rams. So give me LA. Not much more to say. MF, LA, and Chicago. Bone chilling cold in Chicago. Who has the edge?
On paper, it's the Rams. On paper, it is the Rams. They are the better team. Chicago shows up only in the fourth quarter. But the 3 quarters other than that, they are virtual no-shows. And it's happened time after time after time after time. So, yeah, I'm a little suspect of the Bears and how they play. So I would say the Rams is probably the favorite. And I would say the Rams would probably win this game. But I don't know. I mean, it's just I'm not convinced either. I'm going with the Rams as well, but I'm kind of torn as well. So give me the Rams to win it. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Rams as well. I mean, like you said, because the Bears are like a no-show, like in literally the first 3 quarters, and the fourth quarter, like we saw last week in the wild card game against the Packers, that's when they finally showed up and they somehow pulled it off. So you can't do it against a team like the Rams with Matthew Stafford, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, because if you get behind against the Rams, there's no way you're coming back. So I got to go with the Rams here. So with that being said, let's get into our preview of the college football playoff national championship game that'll go down on Monday night.
The long, winding road to crowning a national champion has come to its final stop. And the number 1 seed Indiana Hoosiers and number 10 seed Miami Hurricanes will square off on Monday night for college football's top prize. The Hoosiers entered the 12-team playoff as the number 1 seed after going 12-0 during the regular season and then knocking off fellow title contender Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. And they have outscored the opposition by a combined 69 points in their 2 playoff games. The Hurricanes took a more complicated path to the playoff, losing 2 games in conference play and missing out on the ACC championship game before securing the final at-large playoff bid over a Notre Dame team they beat on opening weekend, week 1. They are the clear underdog, but also playing their best football of the season right now. College football playoff national championship game this Monday night, 7:30 on ESPN from the Hard Rock Stadium, Miami, Florida. A home game in a sense for the Miami Hurricanes, even though they're technically going to be wearing the road jerseys for this because of the seeding. The number 10 seed Miami Hurricanes versus the number 1 seed, the Indiana Hoosiers. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Holly Rowe, Molly McGrath. Indiana opening up as an 8.5-point favorite. So here we go, boys. Let's start with how Indiana got here. In 2 short years at the helm, head coach Curt Cignetti has transformed the Indiana Hoosiers football program from a long-time afterthought into a national powerhouse. The former James Madison coach inherited a team that had gone a combined 9-27 over the previous 3 years and immediately led them to a school record 11 wins in 2024, bringing in Ohio University quarterback Curtis Rourke to lead the offense among a long list of other transfers. He again filled the starting quarterback job through the portal last offseason with University of California transfer Fernando Mendoza, and it proved to be a perfect match, as Mendoza went on to become the school's first ever Heisman Trophy winner. With Mendoza backed by a rushing attack that averaged more than 200 yards a game and a stingy defense that has limited the opposition to 11 points a game, the Hoosiers went 12-0 during the regular season. A 13-10 victory over Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game moved them to number 1 in the AP poll and clinched the number 1 seed in the playoff bracket. and they steamrolled Alabama 38-3 in the Rose Bowl, and Oregon 56-22 in the Peach Bowl to secure their spot in this national championship game. As for the Miami Hurricanes, here's how they got here. The Miami Hurricanes began the season at number 10 in the AP poll and quickly jumped into the top 5 after a 27-24 victory over Notre Dame in week 1. They added wins against South Florida and Florida State, who were both number 18 at the time, as part of a 5-0 start, but then suffered losses to Louisville and SMU in a span of 3 games to tumble down the rankings. Those early conference losses, coupled with a disappointing all-around season from Clemson, left the ACC in complete chaos. When the dust settled, there were 5 teams with a 6-2 record in conference play, vying for a spot alongside 7-1 Virginia in the ACC championship game. The tiebreaker favored a 5-loss Duke team, who then upset Virginia, opening the door for the ACC to be shut out entirely from the playoff field. Tulane and James Madison received automatic bids over Duke as the number 4 and number 5 highest-ranked conference champions. But the committee gave the final at-large spot to Miami over the Notre Dame team they beat in week 1. With a disruptive defensive front that leads the nation in sacks with 47 and allows just 86.5 rushing yards a game, along with a veteran quarterback in Carson Beck, a reliable running back in Mark Fletcher Jr., and a star wideout in Malachi Toney, the Hurricanes have clicked at the perfect time. Despite entering the playoffs as the number 10 seed, they have run through number 7 seed Texas A&M 10-3 in College Station. Then defeated number 2 seed Ohio State 24-14 in the Cotton Bowl. And then upset Ole Miss 31-27 in overtime in the Fiesta Bowl to earn this chance to play for the national championship. There's nothing. The keys to the game. Number 1, Indiana's offensive line versus Miami's defensive front. Led by All-American Reuben Bain Jr., 13 tackles for loss and 8.5 sacks, and Akeem Mesidor, 15.5 tackles for loss, 10.5 sacks. The Hurricanes have arguably the most disruptive defensive front in college football. They lead the nation in sacks with 47 and have done a lot of that damage against Texas A&M with 9 sacks, Ohio State with 7, and 5 against Ole Miss on their road to the title game. Meanwhile, the Hoosiers' offensive line has allowed just 22 sacks in 15 games, with All-American left tackle Carter Smith anchoring a unit that was a finalist for the Joe Moore Award, which is given to the nation's best offensive lineman group. Miami, and the number 2 key, Miami's running game versus Indiana's run defense. The Hurricanes' rushing attack has not been held under 120 yards on the ground since November 22nd, and just pounded out 191 yards on 51 carries in their win over Ole Miss in the Fiesta Bowl. Mark Fletcher Jr., 199 carries, 1,080 yards, and 10 touchdowns. He leads the way, while Charmar Brown, 119 carries, 469 yards, and 7 touchdowns, has been a productive number 2 back. Will they be able to get anything going against a stout Indiana run defense? The Hoosiers completely shut down Ohio State. They allowed only 58 total yards and 2.2 yards a carry. Alabama held them to 23 yards, 1.4 yards a carry, and held Oregon to 93 yards, 3.6 yards a carry over their last 3 games, and have surrendered just 75 rushing yards a game on the year. And the third and final key, a home game for the Hurricanes. All the way back in 2022, Hard Rock Stadium was selected as the site for the 2026 College Football Playoff National Championship game. Later that year, the Mario Cristobal era began at Miami with a lackluster 5-7 season, but now the Hurricanes are set to play for a national championship on their home turf. Monday night will mark the 9th time this season they have taken the field at Hard Rock Stadium, though they will technically be the away team as the lower seed. Can they become the first team to win the national championship? Excuse me. Can they become the first team to win a national championship at home? it would be unwise to underestimate a Miami team that is playing some terrific football right now. But it's also difficult to ignore the fact that Indiana has been utterly dominant against some of the nation's elite teams. They have outscored the opposition by an average of 31.5 points en route to their 15-0 record, and actually topped that mark with 35 and 34-point wins over Alabama and Oregon on the road to this national championship game. The fact that they have the Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback, yet the passing game might even be their biggest strength, speaks volumes to the depth of talent Curt Cignetti has assembled. The Hurricanes are going to make things uncomfortable with their pass rush, and I believe they will keep it closer than Indiana's previous two opponents. But at the end of the day, I believe this Hoosiers squad is destined to hoist the national championship trophy. Close into the fourth quarter, but I think Indiana will put it away with a late score. So I am going to go with the Indiana Hoosiers to win the national championship. My final score, 31-17. Indiana defeats Miami and completes perhaps the greatest turnaround, not just in college football history, but maybe in sports altogether. So they will no longer be just a basketball school. They will most assuredly be a football school, should they pull this off on Monday night. 31-17, Indiana wins the national championship. Nothing more for me to say. MF, we already know the story of Indiana. That we already know. Of course, we're going to be calling this one as well. This is ours right here. And I know who you want to win. I know who you want to win.
Yes.
And for good reason, of course. Sentimental reasons, of course. But Miami and Indiana for the title. Indiana the 1, Miami the 10. And for the first time ever, MF, a team has an opportunity to win the national championship on their own home field. Could you imagine that?
It would be the most remarkable story if Miami wins the title. College football would be absolutely back. Everybody's been saying it. One of the traditional blue bloods, one of the teams that kind of got me into college football way back when, would be back on top of the mountain again. And it would be a story that could redefine how we think about college football as a whole. Because right now, if Indiana wins, we are living in a Big Ten dynasty, boys. Because think about this. 2 years ago, Michigan got to hoist the national championship when they won and dominated the Washington Huskies in the national championship game. And then 1 year ago, pain me to say this, but the Ohio State Buckeyes won the national championship, taking down a very gamed and very good Notre Dame squad. If Indiana wins, where a lot of people believe that they will, it will be 3 in a row for the Big Ten Conference. All of a sudden, it's no longer about the SEC. Now the Big Ten can say that we are the dynasty of college football, that we are the destination that you want to be in. And for Miami, as the lone representative of the ACC, because of everything that happened, maybe a self-inflicted gunshot wound on their end because of Duke winning the ACC that kind of prevented a second team to get into the playoff. It can be all written. It could all be amended if Miami wins the title for the ACC. And you know the ACC wants this because they want to stick it to every other conference to say, oh, you left us out? You wanted it to give 2 lower tier mid-majors our spot in the college football playoff? So if you're Miami, you're not just playing for yourselves. You're playing for the Atlantic Coast Conference. And that's why I believe that there's more in stake than anything else. Now, you cannot discredit the domination that Indiana has done. And I think a lot of people are kind of feeling like this is going to be Indiana romping over Miami and that they're going to easily win the national championship. I think Indiana will do it too. I'm taking the broadcaster's approach, and I'm saying that yes, if you put this on paper, Indiana is a far superior team than the Miami Hurricanes, and they have been. However, Fernando Mendoza, for all the great that he's done, has never faced a defense like this. And I can rest assure you, Miami has a target on his back that they are going to want to harass him, want to hurt him, and they are going to be looking to try to take him down a peg or two on Monday night for the title. Even though I think Mendoza will get his, and he will, I just don't see Miami overcoming all those obstacles. I just feel like Indiana, all year long, Indiana's been tested, but they've always answered the bell. I think they're going to answer the bell one more time. The Hoosiers win the national championship. Michael Bullock, it's yours. Obviously, I want Miami to win the national championship, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see it happen too, but look, Indiana's the far superior team here. I mean, you guys pretty much said everything, so I too am going to go with the Indiana Hoosiers to win the national championship. So nothing more to say, Florio. Let's put a bow on this and set up the future content.
And that future content will take us to tomorrow night, right around the 10 to 10:30 threshold, as we usually do. We got the Cerebral Smack Talk. We got the first TNA Impact on AMC, the start of the AMC era. And then we have Friday Night SmackDown. That will be tomorrow night. And then from there, Tuesday night, we're right back here for Ridiculously Raw, Monday Night Raw, and NXT. It's all about that. And then 1 week from tonight, TXN Sports World NFL Friday. We're going to have a recap. We're going to recap this national championship game. And then from there, we are going to preview the AFC and NFC championship games. And that's it. So until tomorrow night, for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF's channel, BraceFan95, this is Anthony Florio here. For good old MF, Michael Fletcher. And in spirit, Michael Bullock. And of course, always and forever, our First Lady, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Saturday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching the Divisional Playoff Edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and Streamy.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.